Have you ever noticed how some people can just say one thing and it completely ruins your day? It's like they have a remote control for your emotions. You feel fine, and then suddenly, you're angry, sad, or full of self-doubt. You might blame them, thinking they really know how to push my buttons. But what if the buttons aren't the problem? What if the real issue is the handle they're grabbing? Imagine your psyche as a smooth, polished sphere. It's strong, resilient, and whole. Now, imagine that sphere has a few handles sticking out of it. These handles are created by our deepest unmet needs, our hidden fears, and the old roles we played in our families or past relationships. Maybe one handle is labeled "I'm not good enough," forged from years of criticism. Another might be "I must keep everyone happy," a role you took on as a child. A third could be "I'm afraid of being abandoned," a fear rooted in a past betrayal. These aren't just memories, they're active, living parts of us. The famous psychologist Carl Jung called these handles complexes. He described them as little autonomous islands of emotion within our minds. They have their own energy, their own agenda. They are pockets of unresolved pain and experience. And when someone comes along and sees one of these handles, all they have to do is give it a little tug. They don't need to break you. They just need to pull. When someone criticizes your work and you spiral into a week of self-loathing, they're not creating a new wound. They're yanking on the "I'm not good enough" handle that was already there. When you say yes to something you desperately want to say no to, just to avoid a conflict, someone is pulling the "I must keep everyone happy" handle. They don't even have to do it intentionally. Many people pull these handles unconsciously because they recognize a pattern they can use. They see a hook and they use it. The pain doesn't come from the pull itself. The pain persists because there is a handle to grab onto in the first place. The real work isn't about trying to stop people from pulling. You can't control everyone you meet. The real work is about identifying and removing your own handles. It's about looking at that handle, understanding why it's there, where it came from, and doing the deep, internal work to dissolve it. Think about it this way. What if people don't break you, they just pull a string you forgot you were wearing? A string tied to an old version of you, a past hurt, an unresolved fear. Once you find the string, once you see the handle for what it is on, old story, not a current truth, you can begin to untie it. You can start the process of smoothing over that part of yourself. When you do this, something magical happens. The next time someone tries to pull that same old trick, their hand just slips. There's nothing to grab onto. The criticism that once devastated you now sounds like simple feedback you can choose to accept or ignore. The demand that once triggered your people-pleasing reflex now meets a calm and firm no. This is where manipulation ends and true self-respect begins. You are no longer steerable by the whims and needs of others. You are in control of your own direction. So, the power isn't in building walls to protect yourself from others. The power is in dissolving the internal hooks that allow them to hurt you. It's about becoming a smooth sphere once again whole, integrated, and the ultimate freedom is not needing others to change, but becoming unchangeable by them. Let's start this process right now. I want you to think about your own life. What's that one specific situation, that one type of comment or person that reliably spikes your emotion? What is the thing that can take you from 0 to 100 in seconds? Comment one situation that reliably gets a big emotional reaction from you. In part dos, we'll look at these examples and begin to name the complex behind it. And most importantly, start the process to break its spell. Have you ever felt completely hijacked by an emotion? One minute you're fine, and the next, you're in the grip of something so powerful it feels like it's steering your entire life. It might be a sudden flash of anger, a wave of debilitating insecurity, or a surge of anxiety that seems to come out of nowhere. You react in ways you later regret, say things you don't mean, and feel like a stranger in your own skin. What if I told you that the emotion that hijacks you has a first name, and that simply saying its name out loud can be the first step to taking back control, to stopping it from driving your life in secret? This isn't just a metaphor. This is a practical approach to what Carl Jung called complexes. A complex is essentially a supercharged cluster of thoughts, feelings, memories, and behaviors, all wrapped around a specific theme. Think of it like a little subpersonality living inside you. It has its own agenda, its own fears, and its own script that it forces you to play out again and again. It's the part of you that gets activated or triggered by certain situations. When a complex takes over, it's like a puppet master pulling your strings. You're no longer the one in charge. The complex is the real you. Your conscious self gets pushed into the passenger seat. The power of these complexes lies in their invisibility. They operate from the shadows of our unconscious mind. We don't see them coming, so we can't fight back. We just experience the emotional fallout. But here is the secret. A complex begins to lose its power the moment it is seen, spoken, and separated from I. The moment you can point to it and say, "That's not me. That's my rejection complex." Or, "Oh, there's my imposter syndrome acting up again." You create a crucial space between you and the reaction. You stop being the emotion and start being the observer of the emotion. This is the essence of shadow work, in practice achieving wholeness, or what Jung called individuation, through precision. So, how do we do this? We become detectives of our own inner world. The first step is to track your triggers. For the next week, carry a small notebook, or use the Notes app on your phone. Whenever you feel that emotional hijack happening, stop and make a note. What just happened? Who were you with? What were you thinking right before the feeling hit? Don't judge it, just record Italiano. You're gathering data on your inner puppet master. After you've tracked a few instances, you'll start to see a pattern. This is when you give the complex a name. This might sound silly, but it's incredibly powerful. Naming it externalizes it. It gives form to the formless. You could name it based on its core fear, like the abandonment gremlin, or something more playful, like Judge Judy if it's your inner critic. I once worked with someone whose complex around needing to please everyone was named the butler. Whenever he felt that compulsive need to serve others at his own expense, he could say, the butler's on duty." This simple act created enough distance for him to choose a different response. Once you have a name, you can begin to study its script. Every complex has a script it wants you to follow. It has desires, fears, and a specific way it bargains with you to get what it wants. Ask yourself, what does this complex want? Maybe the perfectionist wants to keep you safe from criticism. What does it fear? Perhaps it fears that if you make a mistake, you'll be seen as a failure and be worthless. How does it bargain? It might tell you, just work for 3 more hours. Then you'll be safe. Then you can relax. But of course the goalposts always move. By studying this script, you demystify it. You see it for what it is. A very old, very primitive survival strategy that you likely developed in childhood to cope with a difficult situation. It was useful then, but it's not serving you now. It's an outdated operating system that keeps crashing your life. Seeing the script clearly allows you to recognize it the moment it starts playing. You hear that first line? You're not good enough for this. And instead of believing it, you can say, I recognize that line. That's from the imposter's script. I'm not playing that scene today. This is the process of making the unconscious conscious. You are bringing the monster out of the basement and into the light, and you often find that in the light, it's not a monster at all. It's a scared, young part of yourself that's just trying to protect you in a clumsy, outdated way. By naming it and understanding its script, you can begin to relate to it with compassion instead of fear. So, here's your task. Look at the triggers you've tracked. Pick the most prominent one, the one that shows up the most often and causes the most trouble. Now, grab a pen and paper and write down its 3 essential lines. First, what am I afraid to lose? This gets to the core fear. Second, what do I need to hear? This reveals the unmet need that the complex is trying to fulfill. And third, what role am I replaying? This helps you see the pattern from your past that's stuck on a loop. Be honest with yourself. Write your top trigger and its 3 lines. What am I afraid to lose? What do I need to hear? What role am I replaying? In part 3, we'll turn this clarity into psychological aikido. Have you ever felt cornered in a conversation, pushed into agreeing to something you didn't want, only to wonder later, how did that happen? It's a frustrating feeling, like your own mind was used against you. Today, we're going to talk about a powerful mental framework I call psychological Aikido. It's not about fighting back. It's about using the other person's momentum to gracefully sidestep their attempts to control you, leaving you centered, calm, and in charge of your own decisions. The core principle is simple but transformative. Replace reflex with ritual. When you feel that pressure mounting, that sudden urgency, that wave of guilt, that confusing mix of flattery and demands, your instinct is to react immediately. You either push back, which creates conflict, or jukabe, in which costs you your peace. The ritual we're going to build breaks that cycle. It has 3 steps. First, pause. Just for 10 seconds, don't say a word. Take a deep breath. This short circuit of silence is your superpower. It stops the manipulator's momentum dead in its tracks. They expect an immediate reaction, and when they don't get one, their script is broken. While you're in that 10-second pause, you move to the second step of the ritual. Name the move. Mentally label what's happening. Is this a guilt trip? If you really cared, you would double quotes. Are they creating an urgency trap? I need an answer right now, or the opportunity is gone forever. Is it a love bomb, followed by a threat of withdrawal? You're the most amazing person I've ever met. But if you can't do this for me, I don't know what our friendship is worth. Binaminit, you move from being a participant in their drama to an observer of their strategy. It's like watching a magic trick when you already know the secret. The illusion loses its power. You're no longer emotionally entangled. You're analytically aware. Now for the third and most empowering step. Choose your response. You are no longer reacting on their terms. You are acting on yours. Your pause has given you the space to think. You've identified their tactic. Now, you can consciously select how you want to proceed. This doesn't have to be confrontational. In fact, the most effective responses are often the calmest. This is where a few pre-planned scripts become your best friends. We call these clean boundary scripts. They are simple, firm, and non-negotiable statements that don't invite an argument for non-urgent demands, especially those that come with high pressure. Your go-to script is the 24-hour rule. It sounds like this. That's an interesting proposal. I need some time to think about it. I'll get back to you within 24 hours. Say it calmly, say it firmly, and then change the subject, or end the conversation. This simple sentence is a fortress. It defends your time, your energy, and your right to make considered decisions. It completely neutralizes urgency traps. Someone trying to rush you into a decision relies on a now or never panic. By calmly deferring, you communicate that you operate on your own timeline, not theirs. Another powerful technique is to mirror without heat. This is especially useful when someone is trying to you or being emotionally manipulative. Mirroring is simply reflecting their words back to them as a question, but without any of the emotional charge. For example, if they say, "I can't believe you won't help me. I do so much for you." Your calm response could be, "So you feel that I don't appreciate what you do." This forces them to either own their manipulative statement or back down. You're not agreeing. You're not arguing. You're holding up a mirror to their behavior. And often, people don't like what they see. The key is the without heat part. Your tone must be neutral and inquisitive, not sarcastic or accusatory. Keep your face calm and your answers slow, and watch their leverage evaporate from your silence. This combination of stoic calm on the outside and Jungian awareness on the inside is what dissolves these common manipulative tactics. The stoic part is your unflappable exterior, the pause, the slow speech, the steady gaze. You refuse to be emotionally hijacked. The Jungian awareness is your inner work, recognizing the archetypal patterns of manipulation, naming the shadow tactics of guilt, and understanding the love bomb withdrawal cycle, not as a personal failing on your part, but as a predictable textbook maneuver. When you see the strings, you can't be a puppet. Guilt trips work by making you feel responsible for someone else's emotions. Your calm boundary script for this might be, "I understand you're disappointed, but my decision stands." You acknowledge their feeling without accepting responsibility for it. Urgency traps work by creating a false scarcity of time. The 24-hour rule demolishes this. Love bombing and withdrawal cycles work by making your sense of self-worth dependent on their approval. By grounding your value internally, you see their praise and their coldness for what they are. Tools to control you, not reflections of your worth. Let's try a small experiment. For the next 7 days, I challenge you to adopt a slow reply policy. In texts, in emails, in conversations. Before you answer any non-critical requests, take that pause, even if it's just 30 seconds before replying to a text. Feel the difference it makes. Notice how it shifts the power dynamic. To commit to this, go to the comments and post, "I choose my pace." It's a declaration that you're taking back control of your time and your responses. Imagine becoming your own last parent, the one who never abandons you, even when the world does. Sounds intense, right? But what if I told you that this is the key to unshakable inner safety? We spend so much of our lives looking for a safe harbor outside of ourselves in a partner, a job, a community. But true, lasting safety isn't something you find. It's something you build, brick by brick, inside your own soul. This is what we call the inner citadel. The foundation of this citadel rests on what Carl Jung called the self, with a capital S. This isn't your ego, the part of you that's always worried about what others think. The self is your true center, your internal governing force. And the way you connect with it is by becoming the parent you always needed. This process is called reparenting, and it's about actively and consciously giving yourself what you might have missed in childhood. It's not about blaming anyone. It's about taking radical responsibility for your own well-being. So, what does this inner parent do? First, they honor your need for solitude. In a world that screams for constant connection, your inner parent carves out sacred space for you to be alone. Not lonely, but alone. This is where you can hear your own thoughts without the noise of the world's expectations. Solitude is the soil where your true self begins to sprout. It's where you stop performing for an audience and start listening to your own soul. Next, this parent provides structure. Think about it. A good parent gives a child a predictable routine. Bedtime, mealtime, playtime. This creates a feeling of safety. As adults, we often resist structure, craving a chaotic sense of freedom. But true freedom is born from discipline. Your inner parent helps you build a routine that supports your goals and your well-being. This isn't a rigid prison. It's a supportive framework. It is the trellis that helps the vine of your potential grow strong and reach for the sun. Instead of sprawling aimlessly on the ground, the third pillar is somatic calm. Somatic simply means relating to the body. Our bodies hold so much of our stress and unprocessed emotions. A good parent soothes a crying child, right? They hold them. They rock them. They breathe with them. Your inner parent learns to do this for you. This means paying attention to your body's signals. Is your jaw clenched? Are your shoulders up by your ears? Your inner parent encourages you to take a deep breath, to stretch, to go for a walk, to release that tension physically. You learn to self-soothe, to bring your own nervous system back to a state of calm, instead of relying on external things to numb or distract you. And finally, the fourth pillar. Honest standards. A loving parent holds their child to high, but achievable standards. They don't let them get away with everything, because they want them to grow into a capable, respectable person. Your inner parent does the same for you. It helps you define your own values, what truly matters to you, and then holds you accountable for living by them. This is where you stop auditioning for everyone else's approval. You're no longer asking, do you like me? Am I good enough? You are setting your own standards based on your integrity. You are the one you need to impress. Now, I have to be honest with you. This process isn't all sunshine and sun. When you start building this inner citadel, you will enter a phase alchemists called the negredo, the blackening. This is the dark, messy, uncomfortable part. As you stop seeking approval, that approval will start to fade away. People who are used to you being a certain way might not like the new you who has boundaries and standards. It can feel lonely. It can feel like you're losing everything. This is the moment where your old self is dissolving to make way for your true strength. You are no longer auditioning. You are governing. You are stepping into your own authority. It's messy. It's painful. But it is the crucible where your true, unshakable self is forged. So, here's your challenge. Block the tower hours this week. 2 hours. Uninterrupted. No phone. No distractions. Use this time for creation or deep reflection. Build something. Write something. Or simply sit and be with yourself. Start building the walls of your citadel. In part 5, we turn your calm into gravity-loving without hooks. Leading without fear. When you stop needing permission to be whole, nothing and nobody can hurt you, they can only reveal themselves. Think about that for a moment. This isn't about building walls or becoming cold. It's the exact opposite. It's about cultivating a core so solid, so self-assured, that the world outside can't chip away at it. It's about realizing your value is undestocked, traded on the open market of other people's opinions. It's a currency you mint yourself. Most of us live our lives in a constant state of negotiation. We bargain for love, for respect, for a seat at the table. We dilute no with maybes and apologies, hoping not to offend. We offer our yes too quickly, hoping to be chosen. We're handing out discount coupons for our time, our energy, our very soul, and wondering why we feel so drained and undervalued. This isn't living. It's a lifelong audition for a part you already own. The shift happens when you reclaim your internal authority. When your worth is self-issued, the bargaining stops. Suddenly, you're not looking for someone to complete you, because you've finally accepted you are never broken. You're not looking for a savior, because you've become your own hero. This is the foundation of what I call psychological dominance, but it has nothing to do with cruelty or control over others. It's the quiet, unshakable control over yourself. It's the calm in the eye of the storm. When you operate from this place, your interactions with the world transform. Your yes becomes a rare and precious gift, given freely and with intention, not as a down payment for acceptance. It's a yes that comes from a place of genuine desire, not desperate need. And your no, it becomes clean. It's a complete sentence. No justification, no long-winded explanation, no guilt. It's a simple, honest boundary that honors your capacity. A clean no is one of the most profound acts of self. It teaches people how to treat you, and more importantly, it reinforces your own self. This is how you learn to love with open hands. When you don't need someone to validate your existence, you can love them for who they are, not for what they do for you. Your love is no longer a hook, trying to snag and possess. It's a presence. You can be fully present with someone. Sharing your light without fearing their darkness will extinguish it. You can offer compassion without getting lost in their chaos. You are the lighthouse, steady, bright, and anchored, not the ship tossed on their emotional waves. You offer a safe harbor, not a prison. This is also the essence of true leadership, whether you're a CEO or just leading your own life. You lead without fear. You make decisions, not from a place of scarcity or a need to please, but from a place of integrity and vision. You aren't afraid of being disliked, because your self-esteem isn't on the line. This allows you to make the tough calls, to speak the hard truths with kindness, and to inspire others, not through force, but through the sheer power of your own centeredness. People are drawn to those who are free, and this state of being is the ultimate freedom. Think about the relationships in your life right now. Where are you bargaining? Where are you handing out your yes like free candy? Where is your no getting tangled in apologies? The first step is awareness. Notice the subtle ways you give your power away. Notice the moments you look outside of yourself for a feeling you can only generate from within. This isn't about blaming anyone. It's about taking radical responsibility for your own emotional sovereignty. This state of being untouchable isn't a superpower you're born with. It's a muscle you build. You build it every time you choose your own peace over someone else's drama. You build it every time you say a clean no to something that drains you. and a wholehearted yes to something that fills you. You build it by spending time alone and realizing you are fantastic company. You build it by forgiving yourself for all the times you settled for less than you deserved. You become untouchable not by hardening your heart, but by making it so full of your own self-generated love that there is no room for anyone else's poison to get in. You become a source, not a seeker. And from that place, you can love more deeply and lead more bravely than you ever thought possible. It's freedom without flight. Connection without chains.